To the City of Isani City Council meeting for Tuesday, March 2nd. Seating may be limited. If you would like to send in a comment for public comment or public hearing to be read on your behalf, you may submit those to the city clerk, Ms. J. Strand at cityofisani.us, or give her a call at 763-762-5759. I'd like to call this meeting to order. If we could all rise for Pledge Allegiance. Doing roll call, all city council members are present. Is there any public comment at this time? No public comment? Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Make a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt the agenda by Councilman Lundin. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Collison. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Approval of city council minutes for February 16th, which was a regular meeting of city council and a committee of the whole meeting as well.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second the minutes, noting that the meeting started at 7:04. Just started at 7:04. I just want that on the record.
Okay, next time Councilman Burgley's late, let's make sure we note that too.
It was on the record. It was on the record for Cowitz at 5:01.
I have a motion from Councilman Lundin to approve the city council minutes and a second by Councilman Burgley, making a note that the meeting started at 7:04.
It was in the record.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Announcements. Committee of the whole meeting will be Tuesday, March 16th at 5 p.m. City Council meeting will be Tuesday, March 16th at 7 p.m. and a Planning Commission meeting will immediately follow that council meeting. Any council committee reports?
We had the fire district meeting. We went over the purchase, however we wanted to use the words. Ms. Woods will use the right terminology.
Lease purchase agreement.
Lease purchase agreement, and I think we came to a conclusion on that, and I think that's that's on the agenda tonight. So I think everything's moving forward fairly smooth there now. So
I would agree. I was at that meeting. Yep. Any other council committee reports? Councilman Gordon, is there anything we're missing from the community education? Anything that?
Nothing extremely major.
I know they're doing their due diligence to try to slowly but surely open all the programs, and it seems to be that they're doing fairly well.
Yeah, I think the main meeting the main talking point of the meeting last week was price, I think, on preschool and that type of thing, and making sure they were competitive. And other than that, I mean, there was just general information, so it wasn't a ton of info in that meeting.
All right, fair enough. I just needed a reminder and refresher, see if there was anything I was missing.
Sure.
Let's move on to business items. K1 is the Isani Area Joint Fire District Annual Report presentation by Chief Al Jankovic.
Evening, gentlemen. Did you receive a paper copy of the...
Fort Myers in March is someways you can't.
Evening, gentlemen. Did you receive a copy of this, or do you want me to grab you one?
It's in the packet.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So what I have for you tonight is the annual report that I prepare every year in sync with the annual township meetings. So I just wanted to come by and go over it briefly with you so that you can kind of see what Isani Fire concluded with at the end of 2020, and I guess just a little bit of what we do throughout the year. So we'll jump right into it. The opening page, if you open it up, is our roster at the end of 2020. We have a cumulative 187 years of service with an average of 7 years of service across all of our members. The years of service in that number column is the rounded down number of years of service for all of our members as of December 31st. So if a member had on 1 year and 364 days, he's noted as having 1 complete year. So these are complete years of service. You'll see on the next page how the city of Isani compares to the other townships that we service. 468 runs is what we totaled in the city of Isani last year. The graph on the bottom of page 2 shows just a line graph of our history over the last 10 years. You can see that we ended the year with 1,034 calls, where the graph started at 724 calls back in 2011. So we've had a few dips along the way, but overall we are on the rise for run counts. No surprise, as our populations are also up. The next pages, 3 and 4, are the types of runs that the fire department responded to in 2020. So you'll notice that category 3 medical or EMS calls is by a long shot the most of the runs that we've responded to at 62.8%. And you can kind of figure out through reading the different columns what those numbers mean. I think each category is totaled, and then you can see a percentage of how much that category weighed against our entire 1,034 runs last year. Kind of a fun picture on the bottom of page 4 there. We took delivery of a new engine 1 last year. The picture on the left is obviously the chassis cab as it was delivered to Custom Fire in Osceola, Wisconsin, as just a bare Freightliner chassis. And then on the right is when we took delivery of the truck in August of last year. The next page, page 5, is a list of different trainings that the firefighters took in 2020. Looks a little bit different from other years. There's a lot of COVID-related coronavirus I see in there. We took a lot of impromptu trainings to get up to speed with the pandemic and how we could best protect ourselves while still doing our job. Also in that list are Osha Mandates, which any fire department leader across the state would be familiar with. There's a list of courses that are critical to us maintaining our safety throughout the year. We have to refresh on them every year, which we do consistently, and those are also included in that training list. Service area is on page 6. Nothing has changed in the past year. I did update the estimated population and valuations, which I receive annually from the county assessor. The graph on the bottom, the yellow line is a fairly accurate. It's zoomed out, so it may be hard to register, but that is our service area. So if you wanted to try to figure out how much area we cover, it's 157 square miles, including 5,853 households across the city and 6 townships. The next page, page 7, is a brief overview of our financials. You see our 2020 budget was $632,785. We were able to receive $84,728.76 in grants, $1,660.35 in donations. The 2 are listed there. Made some money in our bank account for interest. Rodeo Association donated some goods over the last year. And then you'll see the balances for our checking, donation, fire call savings, and we have a water rescue savings account, which is earmarked just for our water rescue efforts so that we can track that money clearly. If you're paying attention to prior annual reports, we had balances of certificates of deposit, CDs, which were purchased purposely with our annual budget to save up for our new fire engine. As we discussed, we purchased that new fire engine, so we cashed out all of our CDs so that we were able to pay for that engine for cash, zero financing. The next page is our capital assets. So all of the equipment and stations that we own in order to conduct our mission. The next page on page 9 is specific to the city of Isani. So I divided out a report for you guys, separate from all the other townships, so you can see what we are doing most frequently in the city and the percentage of those runs compared to the total runs, which were 468. The middle of page 10 shows a breakdown of the city of Isani's contributions towards our budget. Again, our budget last year, $632,785. City of Isani's total contribution last year was $238,077.52. So if you do a calculation, the city of Isani paid for 38% of our budget. And if you calculate out the amount of runs we responded to in the city versus the entire fire district, we responded to 45% of our overall runs in the city. So you paid for 38% of our budget and you accounted for 45% of our runs. Then it's just a couple of pictures to fill in the pages required for me to make this booklet. We had some auto extrication in June. In the bottom there, we received from some donated vehicles from a local salvage yard. And then on the back is a pretty neat picture to me. We mutual aided Becker Fire Department when they had their big scrapyard fire. You see our tanker there is backed up to the big drop tank where we hauled water for a 12-hour overnight shift.
For your hot tub there, is that what that is?
What's that?
For your hot tub, is that what that is?
It'd be a cold tub, but yeah, it would work good. So that's it. Unless anybody has any questions, I'll let you carry on.
What is a water vehicle fire?
Boat.
Is that what that is? Water vehicle fire. It's
Did
on
we
page
have
9.
one?
It's on page 9 and it's 134 in the category, 2020 incident type. That caught my eye. I was like, what's a water vehicle fire?
Oh, you know what that was, is somebody, I don't know how much of this I can disclose, Chief, but there was a boat on a trailer that was found down in the river
Okay,
park.
good enough.
That was
I-
on fire.
I see where you're going with that. All right.
Did I do good? Good.
Water vehicle, okay.
I don't want to screw anything up. Any investigations?
Just to also, you know, guys, note, if you look, majority of our runs in the city are medical runs. And I know Chief Jankovich, we've had this conversation many times, and you've been working towards maybe doing something on the medical end of billing. If that ever works out, we're fingers crossed, that would definitely help our city run counts. Wasn't there talk of Oxford breaking up their area also?
There's been discussions of it. Nobody has formally brought it to me. There was discussion or talks about myself meeting with Oxford and a few other fire departments to talk about what best serves the residents of Oxford. That has not been organized yet. I also heard it might go to their annual meeting for discussion, which is next week. So I'm just kind of holding tight until somebody comes to me. But yeah, there is discussions about Oxford possibly moving some sections to other area fire departments out there.
And how are we doing on our joint powers agreement?
It's stuck, I guess, to be frank with you. Unfortunately, the large majority of our fire board is on board for our joint powers agreement amendment, and I won't get into that a whole lot, but we do have, I guess, a little bit of contest, maybe some unsureness, and that is holding us up. The way our joint powers agreement is written is that we have to have a unanimous decision amongst all 7 entities in order to amend it, to ever change it.
But I heard it's
So-
one entity out of all 7.
We have 6 on board and 1 opposed, so we're stuck. And until we can either find a happy medium, which we're having a hard time bringing everybody together during the pandemic to discuss it, to roundtable a little bit, figure out if there is common ground, But until we can work through this, we aren't able to amend it. It's still on our agenda, but it's not moving very fast.
I know we've worked pretty diligent with the one person that's fighting it, and hopefully we got through to them. But like you said, with the pandemic, and I know Oxford is meeting via Zoom, and it's making it really hard for them to get something done.
It is. They're not able, what I'm seeing is they're not able to work through some of the discussions on their own. And if that can't happen first, they're not able to bring it to the fire board to take the next step, so.
I just
Patience,
wanted
I guess.
to, I kind of knew what our update was, but I wanted you to inform the rest of us that,
Yeah, perfect, thank you.
Hey, just to revisit that, billing the medical runs, have you met with like Alliant and see what they're doing with their ambulance runs? Is it similar, or how does that work out?
That is a big can of worms, but in short, legally, we cannot bill for medical runs. We do not own the PSA in our coverage area. Three
So
other
what's a
ambulance,
PSA?
public service area.
Okay.
The ambulance companies have specific rights to transport patients in our coverage areas. The fire department does not.
Even if that JPA, the new one was put in place, you still?
Correct. It's state
still
law.
can't.
We
It's-
cannot. We cannot transport, we cannot bill for our services. The only way that we could bill for our medical services is if we were a sort of a subcontractor, if you will, through the ambulance provider. But if you're talking about billing for fire suppression services, that's a whole different animal, and that is something that we have done historically, and that is a big topic in this joint powers agreement amendment. We can do that, we have done that, but we are not currently doing that because of our joint powers agreement. You'll see in my brief financial report that we had, I believe, $1,000 we collected on 4 fire calls in 2020 before our fire board made a decision to stop billing until we can amend our joint powers agreement or not, and then we will not bill for services.
and just like they went on that, for that Becker fire, they asked for a bill, and the Sandy Fire District couldn't bill them. It's a slippery slope, let's just put it that way, until that joint powers agreement can be redone. That's why one of the big urgencies is to get that done. And if we can't do it, what's funny is 3-4 years ago, it was the opposite. The city of Isani was trying to get something done, and the rest of them said no. And now everybody's on board except for one entity. So,
I'm just gonna sit on my hands,
Yeah.
because
So
I'll
do
say
we-
the wrong thing.
Yeah. As a city, do we still pay for those medical runs then?
Y-
Is that
yes.
what-
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
you also have to, unfortunately, the city of Isani has a lot of elderly people living in it. And that's where the elderly are gonna live. They're gonna live in town where it makes their life easier, and that's what majority of the calls are. You know, I've fallen and I can't get up, and
It's just unfortunate, though, that our police and our fire are there within 4 minutes or less, and then we wait for 20 minutes for an ambulance. But I
But
mean,
if that's a life-threatening situation that we are there in 4 minutes and we're waiting 16 minutes for that advanced life support, that can be life-changing. So, and yes, we do, yes, we do, you do pay, quote-unquote, for those EMS runs, but it's within our paid-on-call salaries, it's within our truck overhead. It's not, you're not paying for me going to Sarah Jones's house and providing care. You're just paying for our overall balloon of overhead.
in the way the joint powers agreement is written up, it goes by run count. So no matter what the run is, that's what we're paying for.
Correct.
And it's unfortunate, and Al and I have looked at each other and both racked our brains against the walls, and this is not something that's just been going on for the last year. I mean, this is what, 5-6 years you and I've been trying to figure out what we can do, and you know, they're waiting on state state's legal actions, or there's
a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and until those are settled, it's just something we gotta have to do. You know, we do pay a lot to the fire district, but they also do a lot for us.
I'm just gonna say the wrong thing as far as that JPA goes, so I'll just leave it alone. I do wanna say that, I'm a guy that fully supports you. I think you guys do a fantastic job. I am one of them guys that if somebody, Cambridge Fire Department or North Branch, I'd put Isani Fire District up against them any day. And I'm not bashful on saying that
Well, I
because I'm that
appreciate it.
proud of you guys. So I thank you for what you do and every firefighter within your stations do.
Well,
The one thing you do have to realize, ISO ratings do show the difference.
yes. Yeah, it saves all of us, the whole fire district, money and insurance.
Mine's cheaper because I'm close to Station 1, so.
You have to realize Bradford was going to remove some of Isani Fire District's coverage area until certain people got wind of it, and that ended that discussion real quick.
Yeah, and that's because of that ISO piece.
Yep.
Fire insurance. But on behalf of all the firefighters, we greatly appreciate the opportunity to do this. Most of the guys, this is their hobby, guys and gal. We have a gal now officially, so.
I heard that.
This is our hobby, and we greatly appreciate council's support to be able to do it.
Just keep up the good work and you'll always have it, Chief.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the chief, guys?
Nope, I'm good.
Good
Thanks,
job,
guys.
chief.
Thank you.
Let's move on to K2. Consideration of lease purchase agreement between the City of Isani and the IAJOFD. Ms. Wood.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So as was mentioned briefly earlier, we did enter into discussions to sell the current PD Fire District building to the Fire District. And this started discussions back in October. And through many discussions, going back and forth and having everyone make sure that everything is the way that they'd like it, the Fire District did vote to approve this this agreement that's within the packet. This is the final version. And what it does is it is an agreed upon price to purchase that facility from the City of Isani for $600,000 in total to be paid in increments over the next 5 years, starting this year.
Any discussion, questions, comments, or concerns?
Ms. Wood, what are we doing? Are they still paying a lease besides? I think we should
So-
discuss that at this
We should
point.
just, well, so what is currently happening, and it actually will be coming back through committee of the whole for discussion, what to do. So in our current agreement that we have, the lease, not this lease, but the rental lease that we have between the city and them, using our facility, had changed, I believe it was in 2016 or so, that it became, instead of $1 for that rent, it became a fair market value. I don't have the exact number in front of me today, but it's approximately $32,000. So we did not build the fire district that in 2020 because we had amended language within the JPA that was being discussed with the other amendments, as was just discussed with Chief Jankovich here a little bit ago. But we do need to get that resolved. We were kind of hoping and waiting for that JPA amendment to go through because then it did fix that because council desired for that rent to go back to $1, which this is different than that rent cost. So we will need to address that. We do need to have that clarified in writing that we will not be billing them that $32,000 and some odd dollars for the rent on top of this. This agreement is made though that will not be occurring, that rent was $1. So we just have to formalize that. That's everyone's understanding.
I personally would like to see us go back to $1 because they're gonna be paying us a large amount of some.
Right, and that's what I think everyone's understanding. We just have to have it memorialized within the black and white words of the agreement that we're kind of waiting for Oxford to decide what they want to do with that JPA amendment. So we might, and what my recommendation will be is to have myself work with Chief Jankovich to actually maybe do a joint powers agreement amendment with just that language change, so then it's clear for everyone.
I think we should, we could be waiting for 5 years, 10 years for that, for one certain entity for the joint powers agreement. But I also think if we do this in good faith, that might help push that further along. I think that we should, as a council or as the city, we should make that determination sooner than later. And I don't know if we can do that tinight.
I believe that council's already desired that. It's just a matter of voting on it when it comes through as a final draft. We just don't have that yet. So I'll work with Al to see how we can finalize that.
Okay.
I don't think there was anybody originally against that.
No.
No, I don't think so either. But I think that we should maybe get that done with the Chief Jankovich sooner than later.
So this lease purchase agreement has it going through the year of 2025. At that time or before, the police department will have vacated that facility to move to a newly remodeled, was known as our liquor store currently as a new police station.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Councilman Lundin and a second by Councilman Collison. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Ordinance amending City Code, Chapter 160, fees.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So at our last Committee of the Whole meeting, there was discussion revolving the background investigation fees that we have and also the cost for food trucks within the city of Isani. The recommendation from the committee was to reduce the investigation fee to $35 and then to have the food truck fees per day at $10, per month at $50, and yearly at $130. So those changes are reflected within Chapter 160 of City Code, which is our fees.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Councilman Lundin and a second by Councilman Gordon. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. K4, a liquor license and pawn shop renewals. I see a lot of faces in this audience that match these names. There's a resolution for approving the on-sale and Sunday liquor license renewal for Junction Bowl and Whistle Stop Bar and Grill. I'm not going to say resolutions. Everybody knows all these, but it's approval on the on-sale and Sunday liquor license renewal for Rum River VFW, Wintergreen's Golf and Grill, and Thunder Brothers Brewery.
I'll make a
Oh,
motion
and-
to,
Nope, there's more.
Still more. Also approving the on-sale 3.2% malt liquor license renewal for is it Patlock Design? I never
Correct.
could. The Sandbrook Golf Course, that's the way I'd say it. And the pawn shop license renewal for Northern Pond. And then lastly, the approval for gold, I'm sorry, that's the next one. I'm sorry, go ahead, Ms. Lynn.
Yes, thank you. And Mayor, I would like to mention, as was discussed at the January 5th City Council meeting, these are all renewal licenses, therefore the fees have been waived for all of them.
I don't know if you guys were aware of that, but surprise.
I make a motion to approve
Motion
all
to-
of them.
Motion to
Second.
approve all of these by Councilman Lundin and second by Councilman Collison. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, everyone, for attending tonight.
Thanks, everyone, for
Thank you,
attending.
everybody, and thank you for enduring 2020.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's
We
the least we could do for y'all.
we understood and realized the pain and suffering you guys have all went through, so we bent. We get it, so.
Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
Have a good night. Now we can move on to K5, the resolution approving goals and organizational chart for 2021.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So annually, we do hold a goal-setting session to discuss priorities of the council for this year and potentially years beyond. And it is to help staff to balance workload and demand of available resources. Those discussions from that meeting also carried into the subsequent committee meetings. So what I have is a list, and I will read through, and you can let me know, please, if I have missed any of these or any of these need to be modified. We have community involvement, holiday lighting display and lighting awards. This item was discussed at the Committee of the Whole and will be reviewed for community participation through donation and sponsoring, and further to be discussed in 2022. Lighting and snowmaking of Sledding Hill. Staff will look into options for a snowmaking device with current 2021 funds without adding additional cost to the budget within the PRC department, and lighting will be addressed when the amphitheater is discussed. Speed limit reduction. Staff has purchased a speed sign to monitor speeds as well as collect data for future discussions, and the Chief of Police will be bringing that data forward once we have it collected. Smart irrigation reimbursement program. This item was discussed to be discussed further at the 2022 budget workshops, which will start occurring approximately in July of this year. Senior housing. Council is supportive of senior and assisted living facilities to build and grow within the city. This includes being supportive of available business incentives. Heritage East Dual intersection. Staff will continue to work with the county to achieve a controlled intersection there. Reducing overall budget. This has been a continued item. Staff will continue to bring forward options that have the least impact on the budget and work to minimize debt. Business marketing and acquiring businesses, again, an annual item. Staff will continue to market the city of Isani, strive for adding new businesses, and retain the fantastic businesses that are currently here. Then we have our city organizational chart, which is included within your packet. And lastly, the new municipal liquor store, which is going through planning, construction, and scheduled opening for November of 2021.
Any questions, comments, or discussion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Councilman Lundin and a second by Councilman Collison. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Before I move on to that consent agenda, how do we do on our studies? On Main Street, and they've been out there diligently, let me tell you. I've seen them quite often.
So we're just getting underway here. Survey for Main Street just finished at the end of last week. So the report will be ready to come to the next council meeting. The Eagle Park and the Heritage Walk would be more likely on the following one, because what we were going to do was really, one of them we'd tie to the other project and actually get a bid to see what it'll come out at before we decide to move forward or not. And the other, we'll just have to work out that right-of-way topic. So we may have that information by next council meeting.
I think Councilman Gordon and we went to that park and got a little better understanding now of what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So I think we can partake in those good ideas when the time comes, so. All right, I appreciate your due diligence, Mr. Cook. Approval of the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilman Collison. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Burgley. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn by Councilman Lundin and a second by Councilman Burgley. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Therefore, we stand adjourned.